We are live. This is the market update. I am your host, Bill Noble. If you need a roadmap in crypto, subscribe to this channel. Turn on alerts so you know when we're going live. And if the content works for you, be sure and hit the like button. Now, we will start off with a few things. One, people think this is because of trade wars. That's not true. That's not true at all. If anything is connected to the trade wars, people are liquidating or somebody is doing forced selling or algorithms are selling around these headlines. This has got nothing to do with a trade war. Nothing. Now, as you may have heard, we'll go over it. Fear is very high. Fear greed index is at 10. I don't think I've ever seen it that low. And we'll discuss fear, greed, and we'll discuss things like RSI. Like in the stock market, when relative strength index gets to an oversold point, everyone gets excited. But if RSI actually crashes itself, which could be like fear, greed, crashing literally to like 10% bullish sentiment. So that's great. No one's bullish, everyone's bearish, and everyone's afraid. And that leaves the question of who is going to buy this thing if there's forced selling going on out there, whether that's Bybit or ETF liquidations, right? The thing that bothers me about this is we don't know who's doing all the selling. We don't know why like Solana and Bitcoin just have absolutely no bid at all. So that's the problem. Now, I guess the good news, I've been talking about GAN work and seasonality. It's, getting close to the end of the month. So hopefully this is over. And there are a lot of decent DeMark charts for sure. And I would describe the market in Lux Algo as like, it looks okay. I mean, it looks okay. It looks like it's hanging on by a thread. It looks bad enough to buy, but you do not want any more downside from here. Just being honest. In other words, if you get reversal signals, if you get buy signals, they should work. Fear greed at 10 feels like an obvious buy. Okay, well, if it's an obvious buy, we should see buyers. And this morning, it looks like the only thing that's actually moving and kind of levitating up, is just like some random altcoins. Like yesterday was Zcash and Litecoin. This morning, it's Polkadot and Avalanche. Some stuff that's just so destroyed that doesn't have forced selling anymore. They just kind of levitate up. Now, does that mean you should come piling into the market? Based on certain chart signals, you should after the bottom has been confirmed, right? In other words, like, hey, fear greed's at 10, let's buy. Okay. That's one way to go about it. I mean, if you were like a long-term player, okay, the other way to look at it is you should let someone else buy it. Let them confirm that this is in fact the bottom, then go in. Because if you're wrong, then it just disappears. So we have fear, greed, good. Charts, good. Lux Algo, good. State of Union address, probably good. Now, here's what a pump fund done. Great. Awesome. So there's all this good stuff, right? And, it's hard to talk about it because and that's also bullish because, there's all this good stuff in the market. Meanwhile, people are just, wrecked. Now, there's only one thing that I don't like about the market, and it's creeping me out in the sense that this started with Solana having no bid on Sunday night. Like Sunday night, I came home and I was like, oh my God, Solana's down 5%. What the hell is going on? Right? Now, if Pump.Fun is dead, which hopefully it is, the simple question that I have is what price should Solana be trading at? In other words, if there's no real activity on the ETH network, ETH is still like money, right? And there's still an ETH ETF. So, and there's ETH staking. You know what I mean? So ETH, even though it never went up, you know, may not go to, may not go to zero. But if pump.fun is done, like, it's just a simple question. Like, what is a good level for Solana? Right? I mean, Solana went from 10 to 200 off memes. And, Solana got the big boost from the Trump meme coin. So it's just a simple question. Like, where should Solana be at? And if somebody doesn't come in and buy this market, we're going to let the market figure that out. So again, we'll go over the charts. We'll try to go over what you should do. I think at the end of the day, it's very simple. If you have stuff from the last cycle that's not working, do your accountant a favor and get rid of it. The stuff that's going to work going forward is probably Bitcoin, probably ETH, the DeFi coins, and stuff that was rallying before this happened, and anything new. Like just Berachain comes to mind, right? Phantom was doing good. That's now Sonic. So anything that was rallying before this debacle, that's probably the way to go. Stuff from the last cycle, you get a rally, dump it, right? Seriously. Dump it, takes the tax loss, and move it into something new. And even if you don't know what that something new is, you can take a couple days to figure it out, right? You can take a couple days. That's just my attitude, right? Okay, so all right, so let's welcome who's here, and we'll discuss what could make this market possibly go up, and we'll discuss what could make this market possibly go down, and then we'll figure it out literally live on the air. Okay, so we have Diogo here, Taz Pinball, Thomas, Justin, Vanessa, Gian, Tango, FN, good morning, Simpy, True Taquito 97, right? We have Zach, Riyadh, Tyler, Shelly, Carmenko, Zepedas, Thin Bazaar. Welcome to the show. Alexandra is here in the morning in Europe. Hello. Binance, selling big volumes. Yeah, Binance and Bybit. I got a few things to say about those characters. I got a few things to say about them. All right, Sam, thank you for doing this. Sir, you're welcome. Sir, should I dump Arrow and Ski? All right, so let's try and talk about that. Arrow is a decision that you have to make based on what you think about the future of Ethereum, right? I don't want to dump, because my partner was on this from the beginning. I don't think you want to dump anything DeFi, anything that has to do with trading, staking. It's clear we got to get outside the banks, and we got to get outside of centralized exchanges, right? I think this centralized exchange thing literally is like a giant. I don't want to use the word scam, but it's like Las Vegas, right? They get everybody to bet on perpetuals, and then they just liquidate everybody. And now they've used this as an excuse to literally liquidate the market down. So they're going to hoover up all the spot at great prices. It's almost like the centralized exchanges are actually, like, the whole Bybit thing has been an excuse to mark the market down. Now, as far as meme coins go, I don't know. My little meme coin survived. I think you got to call your accountant on Ski Mask, right? Any of these things that are trading at like $50 or $60 million. I mean, dude, that's a pure bet on something like, I think, even though it's base, on Solana, right? So if Solana vaporizes, the meme coins are going to disappear. If Solana holds, the meme coins will be okay. I think you got to ask yourself, what do I believe in at this point? Like, do I believe in decentralized finance? Okay, good. Do I believe in AI related coins? because if they've destroyed decentralized AI, that's a look. Because Nvidia earnings, that whole thing. I mean, it's fine. The market's okay, but a lot of what Nvidia is telling people is just not true, right? It's going to become obvious at some point that if you have to do the AI trade, you have to do it in crypto. Now, everything else, like, what do you need 3/4 of the stuff from last cycle and 90% of memes if it doesn't have some form of function or utility, which I think is the only reason why antivirus survived, that and the general low market cap. So should you be hanging on to stuff that you don't believe in? No. Call your accountant, raise the capital, take the loss, and wait to get into like the next thing. Now, I can't give you investment advice. And obviously, if there was a snapback rally, like, ski mask would do really well, right? So I don't want it to be like, oh, I'll sell the low. So another thing you can do with stuff like ski is just like look at a chart and identify a point and just say, I'm not going to stay long below this level. This is my stop. Even if it's the low, I don't care. At this level, I'm out if that's where it goes. And if it doesn't go there, then leave it. Just leave it, right? It's like, do I believe it? Yes or no? And you should probably have some kind of stop loss in case this gets insane. And I'll show you how or why it would get insane. So that's as best as I can answer those questions, because we all got that problem at this point, right? Okay. So let's try to find some relevant information. So the orange man wants to abolish the IRS. Great. We want to abolish the IRS. We want to fire everybody in the government. We want to have Elon giving speeches at cabinet meetings. And we all got rugged. Let's face it. We got rugged. It's like, oh, yeah, we want to abolish the IRS and do all this stuff. I don't know, man. Something happened to crypto. The orange man sold his meme coin at the top. We all bought into this idea of digital assets as a growth industry. And the guy hasn't even mentioned it. We're doing this BS, right? We're doing theater. Here's Elon speaking at the cabinet meeting. And I talked a little bit about this, but not enough. We have theater, and then we had a digital asset business and a growth area. No one's interested. Washington, D.C. rocked by historic layoffs. Washington, D.C. initial claims for unemployment. Great. Mob justice, right? Saw an IRS agent, on the TV on TikTok being interviewed by somebody, and I can relate to this. And the guy just said, all I want is my job back. Like when you get laid off, you just wake up in the morning and you're like sick. Like it's the first thing you thought of, like, oh, I have no job. And all you want is a job or that job back. Seriously. There's dignity in work. Okay. So no one is going to feel sorry for any of these government workers, particularly if they've been taking money for like BS reasons. But there's too much talk about this and not enough talk about growth. That's what I'm going to say. Like the warning sign was that it was hard, right? It was hard to get crypto news. It was hard to get crypto news because they literally hogged up. They hogged up the airwaves. Like, look at this. Okay. 250,000 buyers for the $5 million gold card. Okay, let me get this straight. So we're selling U.S. citizenship to people with money for $5 million. Is that a growth industry? No, it's a great headline. Like, why is the market down? The market is down because this is the news flow. Crypto had news flow on its side. In order for an asset to go up, it needs two things. One, it needs money flowing into it like on a regular basis. And of course, crypto's been the opposite thanks to Bybit. And it needs news flow, right? We need news on a regular basis. Okay, hey, we're going to do this. It's positive. Hey, there's new news. right? I mean, we couldn't read all the positive news a month ago. Now there's nothing to read because these guys hogged it all up with whatever this is. So, okay, great. Yeah, real interesting. So the opposition is paying the orange man a visit over the Trump meme coin. Kind of interesting how, him and Melania sold the top. And I don't know if this is going to be a problem. It's not going to be a problem if like 86K Bitcoin holds. Like if this stabilizes and this seasonal negativity kind of passes, this won't be an issue. But this will be an issue if you have like, all this end of cycle talk winds up being right. And he's going to step up to the podium on March 4th. And I don't know. This is a legitimate question. I don't know if this is so bad he has to distance himself from it, or it's so bad he's got to come in and do something right now. I don't know the answer to that. I do know that if it gets much worse, this could really, really hurt him because they could give him a lot of stuff, and crypto bros, he may have a lot of hate on social media. All I'm saying is this meme coin thing, I gotta be honest with you. My business partner, Toby Ward, has been like, meme coins can go to heck in a handbag. I hate meme coins. She's been saying it for a year. And then overnight, these things disappeared. Now, I'm actually happy about that, right? Particularly this pump.fun thing, because I've been on it all along. This thing could come back to haunt the orange man if he doesn't save crypto on March 4th. That's all I'm saying. Okay. So you've heard this. So it was like 92 at Thanksgiving, I think. And now it's at 10. Now, like I told you earlier, so when you get things like this low, it is one of two things. It's either the mother of all generational bottoms, okay, or it's going to crash because there's no buyer, right? If everyone's afraid, there's no buyer. And Bybit and all these characters who are doing forced selling or ETF liquidations, which again happen automatically, right? Somebody sells the Bitcoin ETF, they stop out of Bitcoin in the stock market. That's automatic selling into crypto. So is this a buy? Is this bullish? Of course it is. It's super bullish. Now, and the charts are good. Everything's good. We're all set. We're all ready. Let's pack our bags. Let's load it up. Let's go. Okay. Someone has to buy it though. Everyone's looking at everyone else going, oh, you're going to buy it, right? No, wait. I thought you were going to buy it. I'm not buying it. Okay. So you get the idea, right? If someone buys it, it's a bottom. If no one buys it, it's not a bottom. It probably vaporizes. That's why I want to put a stop in. And it's the reason why I don't want to give up on quality stuff. I know, because if it's a bottom, you're going to be like, oh my God, I just sold quality stuff at the bottom. Don't do that. Don't do that. If you took the risk to this point, like I said, put in stops in things that are BS. Because we all did that. We all had some of that. Right. For me, the BS was Solana, right? I held on to Solana because I wanted to get involved in antivirus, and Solana wound up being, I don't know. I don't want to use bad language, but it wound up being a poo coin, in my opinion, right? It's like, I understand why we have Bitcoin and ETH. I don't understand why was I long Solana other than to put it into another coin. Okay, so Bitcoin's correlation to stocks is down 75K. It looks like a target. So the Bitcoin maximalists, Wooly Woo, they're bearish now. Everyone's talking about tariffs. If tariffs should have done anything, it should have helped equities. It should have hurt equities, rather. NVIDIA's earnings were out. The headlines all looked okay. But, I mean, if you read NVIDIA's books, NVIDIA is saying like, oh, yeah, like, we have no supply and demand is out of control. It's just we can't fill the orders. Then if you look in their paperwork, they're offering like sales incentives and rebates and coupons to groups out of Singapore who are supplying China. You know what I'm saying? It's like the headlines read one thing and the fine print says another. So, okay. So if there's a problem with tariffs, that should affect equities. But of course it's not, because the Fed's printing and M2 is rising. So everyone's like, the Fed's printing. That's great for Bitcoin. Well, apparently not at the moment. Not at the moment. And, the Fed's putting high-powered money in somehow, and it's putting M2 in, and it's going to equities, and the Fed's not going to save crypto. Because that's what started it in 2024. The Fed put high-powered money in the system because it wanted the administration to look good into Christmas. Now we need Fed high-powered money, and the Fed's like, yeah, you know what? No. That's what's happening, right? You have Bybit selling and no liquidity coming in. So it's like, where's the bottom? Oh, it's not there. And then Bybit comes in with this. That's how this happened. So if you don't see Fed liquidity at some point to save the orange man, and the Fed may not be on the orange man side. They were threatening to audit them, scaring them, and the Fed's like, oh, okay. All right. Well, we just won't put any sugar in the market, and then we'll check with your Bitcoin strategic reserve. Seriously. Like, you got to ask yourself, like, how does something like this happen, right? All of a sudden, everyone sells, and there's no bid. That's the problem. Who's buying the market at this juncture? And the Bitcoin maximalists are bearish, which is crazy. And the crypto people think it's because of tariffs. That's not true. If anything, like I just said, if anything, they threatened the Treasury and they threatened the Fed, and then the Fed's like, okay, well, we'll see how you feel about this. And what's even funnier is that the North Koreans, undoubtedly backed by the Chinese, pulled off this hack that got it all going. So it's not like they can't push back against the orange man. They push back at the orange man at our expense. So Senator challenges the hype around meme coins, emphasizing the need for responsible innovation that expands financial access rather than just trending online. Wow. Everybody, the Kaizen guys on the podcast yesterday, this is exactly, we've been saying this for a long time. What are we doing in this business? You got Web3 sitting on the shelf. You got Web3 in tatters, destroyed, because we did this instead. Yeah, I understand people needed an inflation hedge. They needed to make money. It was a giant casino. I understand. But, when it was Trump, it was okay. But then when it was Dave Portnoy, and it was really the end, was Kanye. Kanye with the stupid t-shirt was the end. And I knew it. I was like, oh my God. That and Coinbase on a Formula One car. I'm glad somebody's finally looking at it. It's so hysterical in crypto. We have to wait for some guy in a suit in Washington to tell us what we should already know. I'm starting to not like this guy, to be honest with you. I'm confident that we can find $1 trillion in savings. Well, that's great, dude. That's terrific. Fantastic. So how are you going to grow? We're going to find $1 trillion in savings, and then you're going to give that to me to go to Mars. Okay. Or Congress is going to spend it somewhere else. Like, where's the growth? Like, where are the AI data centers? Where's Web3? Where's Ripple? Where's XRP as a payment system? Where the hell is all this? You know what I'm saying? We got all these cabinet people and all these guys, and everyone's getting fired. Dude, you got to grow your way out of $37 trillion. So I hope you really got something to say in a State of the Union address, because I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm tired of this guy. I'm tired of watching Bags. It's like meltdown, the content process meltdown, so we can listen to this guy and his funny hat on the tape talking about whose lives he's going to ruin when he fires people. Seriously, I'm just being honest. Okay, Cynthia Loomis, we're on the precipice of finally creating a bipartisan legislative framework for stablecoins and market structure. Okay, so you know what? Let's give Cynthia some love, because you know what Cynthia is doing? So the orange man is not working on it. The czar is not working on it. The sovereign wealth fund guy we haven't heard one word from these characters, not one word. Hester Pierce has been at the SEC for I don't know how many years. She should be all over the tape going, yeah, let's go. There's nobody saying anything. She is the only person who's like on the tape going, yeah, you know what? We're going to do something really constructive. We're actually going to do something. That's the only one. Remember that when the time comes. Everybody else is just watching this thing disappear at the moment. Okay, so Robert Kiyosaki, right? Kiyosaki, maybe. So Bitcoin is crashing. It's on sale. The problem is not Bitcoin. The problem is central banks, right? America's bankrupt. Bonds are a joke. When Bitcoin crashes, I smile and buy more. Bitcoin is money with integrity. Fake money is the thief. I'll take fake money for gold, silver, and Bitcoin anytime they're on sale. Exactly. Right? Bitcoin is a macro asset. There's no way Bitcoin is not coming back, even if they trample it. Like, what is the rationale to sell Bitcoin at 80 something? Like, there's none. None. Right? And, it's funny. Everyone's all like, oh, Michael Saylor's going to have a problem. No, he's not. No, he's not. The people who lent him money might have a problem, but Mike's fine. Mike rode Bitcoin down to 16K with an average price of 40. And, crypto as an alternative form of money is completely undiscussed. Matter of fact, I think this liquidation event contrived by centralized exchanges, I don't know, it makes me feel like, we need this type of money even more. It's like, and we need DeFi even more. We need outside, like, the entire system. We need to go full John McAfee and trust no one, right? Because these headlines every day, watch your guru, $200 billion liquidated, blah, 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 every single day, and no one questions it. Well, it's time to start questioning it. And this guy is right? It's like, look, if you have crypto, if you have something that gets you outside the system, then you should be on that. That's why I'm saying don't stick around in crap. Get involved in the stuff that you know is good, right? And Bitcoin is one of those things, right? Even if the ETF guy's liquidated, who cares, right? You got to get outside the system. That includes Bybit and Binance, okay? Orange Man took 1,000 questions in the first month, outpacing everybody. Excellent. Does anyone want to ask him about our bags? Anybody want to ask him about the hype and stuff that they created and it just rugged us? I'm just saying. That'd be a good question to ask at this point, I would think. Okay, they finally let a January 6th guy out of jail. Great. Terrific. There's Cynthia rocking on. Okay, NVIDIA reports earnings. Good for them. Good for everybody in stocks. I'm just going to be honest. Stocks are just a total fraud. This AI trade is smoke and mirrors accounting with some of these companies. And I know AI is going to be this like big thing, but it's totally overpriced. Like they sold the future of money. They sold the future of the internet. And this junk went up. Like I'm so bitter about it. It's obvious. It's like, really? Wow. And I think it's the Fed flexing. It's like, oh, yeah, we're going to hold up equities. Or we're going to keep equities moving. And we're just going to let this other risky stuff disappear. When frankly, it should be the other way around. It should be the other way around. Notice that there's been no talk about Fort Knox, Fed, Treasury, not a word. Not a word. Just talking about something else now. That's why. All right, so here we go. This is the type of thing that you see. Oh my God, Bitcoin's at 82. Spot Bitcoin ETF volume surpassed 5 billion. So the good news about volume is that, we have traders selling most likely to mutual funds. If you want to hear something good, like this is good. Like the future of money is good. The future of finance is good. The fact that the ETF volume is massive, meaning you got traders getting out and you probably got long-term players getting in. Like huge. Like everyone, if you were running a mutual fund, you'd be like, oh my God, thank God NVIDIA didn't collapse. Let me sell this stuff and get some Bitcoin while the crypto ninnies are selling because of whatever. Perfect. So Fidelity sold, ARK sold, Grayscale sold, but BlackRock also sold, right? So of course, if people sell the ETF, these guys don't buy it for their own account. They're holding it on behalf of somebody else, just in case you're wondering how an ETF works. So when people dump the ETF, they have to dump the asset inside the ETF, which is why this thing could get ridiculous if it breaks down. But, let's not talk about that. Let's talk about the volume, right? Let's talk about the battle between buyers and sellers and guys coming in and taking the other side of people who are puking this in equities, right? Publicly traded Fold Holdings adds an additional 10 Bitcoin. Bitcoin is owned by 129 companies and no one uses it. McAfee said, get cryptocurrency and use it. Don't just hoard it for trading, because that's what meme coins was, right? Just, you're getting stuff, you're hoarding it, you hope it goes up so you can dump it on somebody else. I got a better idea. Why don't we use cryptocurrency, DeFi, let's get in the future and get away from all these characters that are dumping on us, or these characters who are hate us, which is everybody in legacy and the Fed, right? The pro-Doge rhetoric shouldn't be there. It should be, what do we have to do to get away from the Treasury and the Fed? Right. This Doge thing is like a distraction from what should really be going on. Okay, so here we go, right? $255 million liquidated from the crypto market in the last 60 minutes. All right. So Watcher Guru does these headlines all the time. And, now it's like these people got liquidated today. These people got liquidated this hour. What does this actually mean? Like, I actually thought about this. So people go to an exchange and they deposit stable coins and they essentially make a bet on how Bitcoin's going to go, right? And then they get liquidated. And then what happens? Well, Bybit and Binance take all their money, right? So you put money in, you're 50x levered, long, short, whatever. And if you lose, they just take your money. But, if they liquidate you on the downside, not only are they taking all your money, so, Bybit made like $450 million on this. They take everyone's money and their trading desks are buying spot crypto. Instead of buying it at 97, they're buying it at 87 or 77 or wherever it goes, right? 87 seems to work for me in Bitcoin, but, they're taking everyone's money and no one's questioning it. Like, these headlines are interesting if you have like a one-off big event, like, oh, so many people got liquidated. But see, like Watcher Guru can publish these things every hour, every day. Like, what is going on here? Is anyone questioning this? Like, are these centralized exchanges just a giant version of Pump.Fun with these perps? And they know where everyone stops is, and then they just liquidate everybody? No wonder my partner's always talking about DeFi. Like, everyone's like, CZ was like, yeah, don't worry. It's just a minor Bitcoin crash or whatever. Yeah, okay, dude. How much money are you taking in at everyone else's expense here? Are we investing, or are we just getting smoked on another more sophisticated Pump.Fun? This makes me want to get away from these characters, right? That's where Bitcoin comes in. That's where privacy comes in. That's where, like, being a sovereign individual, that's where DeFi. It's like, you know what, dude? I'm going to go stick my money in Aave. I'm not doing anything with you. Nothing. Coinbase listing meme coins at the top and dumping on everyone's head. I mean, they listed some quality projects like 4 days ago. And of course, the market then tanks after that. Ridiculous. They put their names on a Formula One car. Where did they get that money from? From you. And again, this makes the case for crypto. This is the case for the asset class. So we have 25% tariffs on the Europeans. Okay, so you have a trade war that should affect equities and currencies. It's not. It's not. The dollar didn't move. Stocks didn't move. Nothing's moved. Like, I don't think the monthly close in stocks is going to be particularly good, but this should be affecting stocks, not crypto. I don't know. I mean, yeah, the headlines tank crypto because that's what algorithms do. And again, this goes back to the point of why are we all selling and why are we giving up on quality stuff? We shouldn't be. Because this is just algorithms going, oh, it's a headline sell. Or Bybit's got to pay back a loan, or they have to sell, right? There's forced selling going on in the system, and the toxic problem is we don't know why. So everyone just tries to assign a reason because it's, men behaving badly or liquidations or hacks or whatever, and then everyone thinks this is the problem, and it's not. It's just not. Elon Musk says if we don't cut spending, America will go bankrupt. Yeah, okay. Tell that to Congress, right? Because whatever you cut, they're going to spend. Shut up. My bags are down. You guys basically promised us digital assets as a growth industry. Get out of my face and talk to me when Brad Garlinghouse needs to be on TV, not Elon Musk. Sorry. Okay. The European Union will respond to tariffs. Of course they will. Okay. I guess I had to put Cynthia in a couple times. PayPal wants to get involved. Of course they do. Michael Saylor's giving a speech in Washington, D.C. about how America can pay off the national debt with Bitcoin. Strategic reserve incoming. So the good news is if the orange man gets up to the podium on March 4th and starts talking about growth, when are we going to talk about growth? If we start talking about growth and fear greed is at 10, you could have a 40% rally in a lot of altcoins, right? Because we start talking about Web3, start talking about Algorand. We got no tax on tips. We were abolishing the IRS, and no one said anything about transaction tax on American-made cryptos because that's what got the whole thing going to begin with. Where the hell is this stuff? I mean, are we waiting for the State of the Union? Maybe these Soros guys that he worked with, and I talked about this before, maybe they got everybody leaning one way, like everyone's bearish, and then they hit him with something bullish. That would be a good move. It would be. Okay, so Zach XBT got himself a job at a big hedge fund, right? Doing forensics. I mean, God, you want to talk about a good actor in crypto? I mean, he's been tracking down these scammers and ruggers and hackers. Good for this guy, right? Good for him. He got some job at some big place. I'm glad. Crypto needs a private think tank, like not the government. Crypto needs a self-funded police force where Zach XBT, it's like Zach XBT times 1,000. There's 1,000 Zach XBTs working on this kind of stuff to help crypto police itself or help law enforcement. This is bullish. That's bullish. World Liberty has been stacking some ETH. Good. They're probably looking at Bybit going, oh, wow, man, this is great. We can get all this stuff at super cheap prices. Seriously. I mean, if you're going to hodl this stuff for 10 years, 87 Bitcoin is a dream. I mean, there was literally a point where I was like, oh, my God, if Saylor keeps this up and the Orange Man blows this thing on March 4th, we're going to wind up having to pay 120 for Bitcoin. Now that is not a concern. The concern is who's going to buy Solana? That's the question, right? So long-term, these are opportunities. They are. Okay. First in the Solana ETF. Okay, great. So the good news about the Solana ETF is that the validators who provide you with your free trading don't have to dump the Solana on you. They can dump it on whoever owns the ETF. The good news about the ETF is that it will absorb the selling from the validators. But for me, if I had to do an ETF, it would be XRP. It would be XRP, right? Because XRP has a business model. Solana's business model is what? They have a phone. Okay, that's cool. Nobody wants their phone. They had to pay Joe Rogan to come in and follow the Solana phone page. I should have known. That's where I should have known. I was like, yeah, Joe Rogan's following the phone. Let's go. And I was like, wait a minute. Why do they need Joe Rogan to follow the phone again? The Twitter feed? What? Is that because no one's buying it? See what I'm saying? I saw it, but I couldn't bring myself to go, oh, wait a minute. Coinbase and its Formula One car, right? And then Bybit comes in and forced liquidation is there. And again, we still don't know what's going on with that. That is the number one problem with the market. Fear greed is at 10% because we don't know who's selling or why. When FTX came out, once we knew what was going on with FTX, it took the market 6 months to heal. But once we knew, it stopped. That's the way that works. That's the way this works. Whales face potential liquidation. This is to the point where, like I said earlier, it's affecting people who own spot. Are people who own spot going to panic? I don't know the answer to that. Okay, Binance says it's a tactical retreat, not a reversal. Hey, homie, how much money are you making liquidating people out there? Just asking for a friend. Because I'm sick of these guys. I'm sick of it. They dumped meme coins on everybody at the top. They're liquidating everyone in perps, and they're going to be down there soaking up the spot. And you know what? It's not illegal. It isn't. It's as old as the hill, right? Let's sell, let's liquidate the speculative people, and then let's buy everybody's assets. They have trading desks, right? So we'll liquidate everybody in the casino, take their money, and then we'll take all their spot at the low. I mean, it's a free market, right? But we don't have to like it. We have a choice as to what we do. I want decentralized money to get away from Uncle Sugar and all these governments and this nonsense. I want privacy because the UK government could put me in jail for what I do on Facebook, right? And then I want stuff with utility. I'm still an antivirus guy. Antivirus didn't move. if anything, antivirus was a fantastic place to get rid of Solana because antivirus is only at a 6 million market cap. Seriously. Like antivirus had its own value proposition and it was a way to get out of Solana. I can't believe the extent to which Solana broke down on charts. Like there was a trend line at 180 in Solana. I was like, oh, this is fine. Everything's going to be good. The next thing I know, it's at 130. It's like, wow, holy cow. Who knew how dependent Solana was on mindless speculation? Okay, so legislators want to repeal an unfair crypto tax rule. Now would be a good time. Like, who's working on this? Like, there's all this talk, and now we have a limited amount of work. Like, the Chinese Supreme Court accelerates research on legal treatment of crypto. Like, do you see what's going on here? Like, okay, we're working. Cynthia Loomis is working on it, and so are the Chinese. Okay, great. Where is everyone? Like, when are we going to get going? Like, when promises? Okay, this guy, I can't stand it. Shut up. Okay, so let's just go over a few things. So, I don't know. Let's see if I can get a clean look. So this is Bitcoin, right? DeMark. So, okay. Okay, yeah, Bitcoin on DeMark. So, now this is wonderful. Is you got the 13 bottom, right? So this is how these systems work. I did bring up, although not enough, that when Bitcoin sits like this, it falls off a cliff. It happened in 2018 and it happened again. Staring right at it, your brain just couldn't process the fact that, the thing that you need to get to advance humanity was just going to disappear. So it disappeared. 86K was the support level some guys had. 13 bottom, that's a good signal, but you got to confirm it and go the other way. I don't know if there are any examples from the past, right? When you have a 13 bottom, okay, so this is the summer debacle last year, right? So when you get this signal, what you first need is you need to count the quantitative system to start counting in the other direction. That confirms the bottom. Okay. In other words, someone has to buy it. So it's not good enough to say, well, everyone's bearish. Okay. You're right. Everyone's bearish. That's bullish. And this is a bullish signal. So you got bullish signals, bullish charts, bullish sentiment. Okay. Now I got to wait and see if somebody buys it. That's the key, right? And this is everywhere, right? This is in Solana. So, I'm making Solana jokes today, but Solana's the 13 bottom, and this should be it. That should be it. No more downside in Solana. So I made fun of Solana all day, but Solana should stop going down. It should, because this is a bottom by every stretch of the imagination, except somebody has to be willing to pay higher prices to confirm the bottom. Otherwise, I don't know where this goes. You could have 4 more down days. Where does it stop? That's my question. Okay, so the good news is people are too bearish and you have bottom signals. So I don't want to puke out of quality stuff at these levels. I don't. You can put a stop loss in, but it's a portfolio reorganization opportunity as I see it. Okay. Now, let's talk about total crypto market cap stuff, right? So this is total crypto market cap. And what do we notice? Well, the first thing we notice is that you had all this action above this Fibonacci circle line, and you ran into the Lux Algo premium zone. I will never be bullish at the Lux Algo premium zone ever again because it never goes through there. It never goes through the premium zone. But you sat up here above the the fib line. Everything looked great. And then it goes down. It takes out the 200-day moving average. That's the white line. Okay. Now, the good news is you're at the equilibrium point. So you're at a point of balance. That's good, right? You have every Lux Algo reversal signal imaginable, just like you do in DeMark, right? And you're sitting perfectly at equilibrium, just looking bad, waiting for someone to buy it, that kind of stuff. That's it. Now we just wait to see what happens. Is there more forced selling? Because you know what? People who are forced selling or algorithms or machines or whatever has to liquidate, they don't care about the charts. So now, what I don't like about this, and which is what really disturbed me about this breakdown, is that, total crypto market cap blew out of the bottom of one of these Lux Algo triangles, right? I mean, these Lux Algo triangles, we've been making a living with these things. We made a living on the way up, right, with the accumulation cone, and now it's the other way. Now, okay. So here's another piece of interesting news. So you have a Lux Algo trend line in total too. So this is total crypto market cap without Bitcoin, which I call Ethereum and friends, right? You have every single buy signal in the world, and you're sitting right on the bottom of one of these triangles. Like literally, it's gotta hold here. Because I don't want to be overly dramatic, because again, the market is totally oversold. But this is total 2, which is below equilibrium and below the 200-day moving average. And this is Solana and friends, which is, at equilibrium, but just below the 200-day moving average. Okay. So if this holds, great. Like if you saw this, if you're like, Bill, tell me something positive. I can tell you something positive, right? The forced selling quietly ends, right? You get to the apex of this triangle, and then boom. That's the positive scenario, which is possible because everyone's bearish and all the charts say this is exhausted. That's it. Like, so if you wanted to get involved in quality stuff and you were a high net worth individual and you're like, well, these positions didn't work out, well, let me put in more money and buy quality stuff. Totally get it. That is the right thing to do. It is, because we got to get outside the system, because whoever did all this, right, whoever abandoned us in the government, they rugged us, these centralized exchanges got in trouble, and then they just, liquidated us and took out everybody's crypto. They took everybody's crypto for a reason, because crypto's the future. Okay. So if that happens, it's great. Okay. Now, what if no one buys it? What if no one buys it? Well, then it's this. And this becomes like a spout. You know what I'm saying? Like it went straight up. This is off the election. So theoretically, it could go straight down. This is why I'm saying you got to have stops in what I would call sludge. Okay? If someone comes in and buys it, there could be a huge reversal in this market. Huge. Huge. Because everything is so oversold. But, one of the things I don't like yesterday, this happened yesterday. we were on with Proto doing the podcast, and I thought my trading view was broken because Solana in the market was down 4%. And then stuff like Litecoin and Zcash were up 10%. Like we actually did a live market check on the podcast. We were like, what is going on here? Okay. It's normally Zcash and Litecoin outperforming like that is not constructive. Even though I love Zcash and Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash, when they do better than the market, noticeably, there's a little cringe. Okay. So let's wrap this up. Someone has to be willing to buy the market. Fear greed at 10 is only bullish if someone buys. If no one buys and you have forced selling that we don't know where it comes from, you have to be careful to not lose a lot of trading capital. Okay. The other thing that we did talk about on the podcast, and it's absolutely real, and I'm telling you this so I can tell myself this. Matter of fact, if I could just put a mirror right here so I could say it to myself. Here's what you have to do. You cannot get depressed, or you cannot worry to the point where you can't make decisions. Because in an environment like this, you have to make decisions, right? What am I keeping? What am I stopping out of? What am I adding to? Now, if you had hopes and dreams for crypto, or hopes and dreams of why you entered the market and it's not working out, that's okay. Because, it was euphoria at the top and despair at the bottom. And this is insane in terms of how they went from one point to the other. But you can't let it affect you as a human being. You just can't. Now, I don't know how you do that. Maybe you got to sleep it off. Maybe you got to go for a walk. What I do know is you should do something, because crypto, for all the bad actors and for pump.fun and buy bid hacks and liquidations and governments rugging us, what we've witnessed is the reason why we need it. So when they stop selling it, and we're going to go, you know what, guys, thanks for cheapening it up so I can become a sovereign individual like John McAfee, right? Outside the banks, outside the governments, outside all these characters that just wiped everybody out, right? So depression, no. Angry and determined, yes. Responsible, yes. Okay. Chuck Taylor thinks Litecoin is going to 1,000. Yeah, let's hope so, bro. Let's hope so. Malik wants more tariffs on China. All right, guys. SG is here, the original, when we had one person on the stream. East Alien, Sam, welcome. Will Noble, welcome. Okay, people. That is it for today. That is it. Stay strong. We'll see you tomorrow.